Everybody, it's your girl Deshonda Carter, but you can call me DC. Thanks so much for tuning in today to my show, When the Blue Comes Off. Sit back, relax, take notes, do what you like, and let's get into it.
I lost it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my very special guest, Miss Tanesha Williams.
Hey.
I'm my own sound system, so you gotta
it's me.
you gotta give me my kudos.
It's me. Yes.
Hi Tanesha, how are you?
I'm well. How you doing?
I'm great. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. Now, you know I cannot say the full correct title, but I'm going to abbreviate it, which is a PAT specialist. So you tell the people, what is a PAT specialist? Because that's what you are. That's what you do. Tell the people on When the Blue Comes Off, what is that?
Okay. PAT specialist. PAT means perioperative autologous transfusion specialist. What that means is it's just a fancy name for I'm a daytime vampire. I'm not that's basically what it means. I go into the operating room when people are having surgery, when there is an anticipated high volume blood loss, and I recycle the patient's blood when they lose it to lower their risk of a transfusion, running into blood transfusion problems. So you don't have to get bank blood. I'm there to say, you know what, let's see what we can salvage before we take the next step to going into bank blood.
So it's when you say recycle, so it's just the patient's blood that just kind of gets almost like dialysis, how it gets ran through like that?
It's called autologous. So it is the patient's own blood that's being recycled, which is, just washed and cleaned and filtered, going through several different filters.
That's
and then
amazing. I didn't even know that they could do that with that. I mean, I guess with dialysis is kind of the similar situation, but I didn't think that was done during surgery. That they were actually doing your own blood. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's amazing. What made you get into this line of work, daytime vampire?
Oh, that's a long story.
Well, give us a briefing of it.
Okay, long story short, and this is I'm going to say this point because it could help someone. Okay, I was originally a stay-at-home mother, right? Stay-at-home wife and a mother. I have to put that in there because then you'll understand where it comes from. So I stayed at home and I was going to school while my children were younger and taking my daughter with me while my son was in school or, what have you, just trying to balance out a schedule. Unfortunately, I had gone through a divorce. However, as some single moms, stay-at-home moms understand, is that where do you go from here once you've been at home for how many years and how you're going to take care of your children? And, sometimes we have men that like to hold finances over our head.
Right.
In order to gain control. So with me going to school and me pushing, I ended up sending my resume to a woman named Lisa Robinson. I will never forget her. And when you apply for a job, if your resume doesn't come in, and we had fax machines, right? So if your resume doesn't fax over properly, they usually just put it to the side. No, this woman calls me. She says, can you please resend your resume? Because I didn't come in clearly. So I just hopped in and I was like, okay. So I sent it. It came clear. She called me right back and she says, I would like to set up an interview with you. Now, we have a donor specialist position, which was the one that I was originally applying for, which is another type of vampire. the blood donations and all that. And she says, I don't think that would work for you because you have 2 small children. And I'm like, no, I can make it work. I can make it work because I needed to work. I was going through a divorce, so I needed to work. I needed a job. So she says, I have another position that would fit you and, suit you better than this one. It's more stable. It's Monday through Friday. Okay, no problem. And she told me what it was. She told me my perks. She told me it was just such a blessing. It was such a financial blessing.
But I'm just confused. But I'm confused though. How did you get into blood though? Even with you going to school, like what made you get into this field? Because I can't send my resume as it is to get in this type of field. So what made you turn to this?
Blood, right?
Right.
So I was going to school for registered nurse, to become a registered nurse.
Okay.
And I had that background and that schooling. I did not graduate as a registered nurse. So because I was a stay-at-home mother, I was dealing with other aspects of that. So it made it a little difficult for me to finish that.
Okay.
So that's what was under my belt. That's what I had, the credits, the schooling for become a registered nurse. So that's how I ended up getting into blood. And then at the time, I was just like, okay, I'll take it, And there's a whole new avenue that opened up for me through this woman. And I'm very, very grateful because it's been 15 years now that I've been in my profession. And I literally have, I'm all over the place. I travel every single day to a different location, to a different hospital. I travel between New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. My schedule is basically a doctor's schedule. Like, I leave before the surgery starts. I don't leave until the surgery ends. A lot of different things happen during surgery. Prior to surgery, we may get bumps. We may cancel. We may have add-ons. So I could expect to be at work for 3 to 4 hours and end up being there for 12 hours, 12 to 14. So my schedule is very up in air. So imagine having 2 small children and going through all of this, being a single parent was a bit difficult. However, my mother has been definitely a rock in my corner, just a solid person. So she helped me with my children. Not to mention, I don't want to say their father wasn't in their life because he definitely was. And it was just, the back and forth with the tag team at school events. I got this, I got that. So it really allowed me, I should say, my children to really flourish, see different things. They're now, my son graduated from FIT last spring, and my daughter's graduating from New Paltz this next spring. So it's been a blessing. It's been a journey, I should say.
So when you decided to go into nursing, the nursing field initially,
yes,
while you were in school, this is where you learned about this particular...
No, I had no idea. When I applied for the position at my job, which is the New York Blood Center, this is when Lisa Robinson told me about this, because I had no idea about the position. I had no idea that it existed. I found it just like you. What in the world? Where do they have that? I know they
right.
It was just something literally that fell into my lap. When I say it literally fell into my lap, that's exactly what happened. Never knew. People don't know that this is something. Depending on the type of surgery, we do a lot of spines, we do a lot of hips, joint surgery, hips, knees, OB/GYN cases, OB cases as well, because I do C-sections. Anywhere where there's a lot of vascular cases, a lot of, bloody surgeries, possible bloody surgeries.
So you must have one hell of a strong stomach, ma'am. Because I don't know if I'm going to be around this blood like this all day. And like you said, 15 years. So of course you come all scrubbed up. But have you ever been afraid or been exposed during these last 15, during the 15 years you've been handling the blood?
So in the operating room, what people don't understand, because when you come into the operating room, you're on the stretcher. They tell you to count backwards, you fall asleep.
Right.
There's the sterile field and there's the non-sterile field. I'm not in the sterile field, so I can move around the operating room fine. I just don't go into the sterile field. right?
The sterile
A
field.
lot
Okay.
sterile field. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
people don't know that. People don't see it. Not only that, there are like, I want to say about, it could be roughly up to 10 people in the operating room. While you're having your surgery, you
Right, because
have
you
your
have the
anesthesiologist,
anesthesiologist, right?
you have the CRNA, you have the surgeon, you have the residents if they're residents, you have the fellows, you have the circulator, whoever's helping the circulator, you have the reps with the instrumentations, whoever's with them, because you have a runner, you have the, you know, the who is it? They call the anesthesia techs. They come in and they help with the anesthesia, run and get them stuff. There could be so many people, and it depending on what type of surgery you're having, because you can have two different types of surgeries with two different types of specialists. So they have their own team. So I've been in a room where
Wow.
there's up to 20 people in a room, which gets a little shaky because you can't really monitor sterility as much as you would like to. But that's where the circulator comes in to watch where everybody moves. And we're watching each other as well because we understand how sterility. So
Right.
it's just natural for us to be able to move through the room and just be able to move, and not get anything, not contaminate anything.
But with that being said, the question is, have you ever been afraid?
No,
No.
no, I have not been.
I don't know.
I have not been.
I think I would just be like, just so nervous, so much blood. But I guess, like you said, it's controlled and it's not.
Well, I
No?
take that back. I
Oh.
take that back. I take that back. So now that you said controlled, yes, the environment is a controlled environment. However, I do emergencies as well. I
Okay.
do gunshot wounds. I do ruptured aneurysms. I do stab wounds. I do all these car accidents. There's a lot of emergencies, and those get very scary. Um, the mindset is you have to just work. You have to. You have to know your job. You get on autopilot. You get in there. When I get a call in the middle of the night and I have to go to a particular hospital,
So wait a minute. You're
I
on
get
call too?
yes, I take call. Yes.
Yeah, you might as well be
Mhm.
Dr. Williams, honey.
Mhm. Mhm. I take call, and there are some hospitals that won't even bring the patient back unless we're there
Wow.
because it's a lot of it's ugly. It gets ugly fast. So normally when it's a controlled environment, depending on the surgeon, I sit there. I sit there and I wait. My job is to hurry up and get there and wait, right? So I'll sit and wait, and like I said, depending on the surgeon's skill and the type of surgery, I'll either return blood or I may not because it's not necessary, right? If I'm not busy, that's a great thing. But if I'm busy, it's a really, really bad thing, and things get ugly very quickly because it doesn't take long for a patient to bleed out.
So if you
You
had
know,
to estimate, do you know, or is it based on the size of a person? Because, that's something I've always been, curious of in terms of like a person actually bleeding out. Like you get shot, or I guess it would depend on the wound, right? How fast or how
where it's
slow a
at.
person would bleed out. But yeah, I don't know, girl. I don't think I could. I applaud you.
Thank
I
you.
do, because you
Thank
popping
you.
up in the middle of the night on call, jumping up to save someone's life, because you have to be a part of that surgical team. So if
Right.
you're not there, they can't proceed because we need you in the room.
They will proceed, but we have a collection that they set up depending on how far we are away. Because I can travel. My area is from Hudson Valley North, which is, the hospitals. I want to say we had a contract in Albany, so it could have been Albany, but I'm not going up there for an emergency. All the way down to Manhattan.
Oh gosh.
So anywhere between there, we are strategically placed. So where people are closest to the hospitals that they normally go to or would be um, called to. right?
So do you work out of one specific, like for example, do you, like when you get up in the morning, you're going to, let's say, Vassar Hospital, right? You go to
Mm-hmm.
Vassar and then you wait for instructions, or when you leave your house, you know, okay, I'm going to, um, let's say, Jacoby Hospital or whatever.
I
Do
do not like that hospital. I just want to put that on. You said that. I just was like, ugh.
Okay, well,
You
I
said
couldn't think of
of all
anything else off
hospitals,
the
you
top
said
of my head.
Jacoby.
I'm sorry. Look at that. Look at that. How did I know? Look at that. See, we are on the same vibe. How did I know?
I can't with the Bronx. I can't. I cannot. I'm sorry, Bronx people. I cannot with your hospitals.
Well,
I
I'm
just
sorry.
can't.
My children were born in Albert Einstein Hospital, and I have to tell
Okay.
you, they were exceptional, and that hospital was
Mm,
very, very good to me. That's why I went back and had my second son there. Loved the
beautiful.
doctors there. Montefiore
Beautiful.
is good. Love them. Now, anything on the
Uh-huh.
other side, that Lincoln, that Jacoby,
Oh yeah,
those
Lincoln. Oh
hospitals, yeah,
wow. Oh wow.
you can kind of keep those, but you know.
Yes, I would give Lincoln away all the time. Oh my gosh. Don't I'm sorry, Lincoln people.
They're gonna look at you like,
I'm sorry.
uh-huh.
I know that girl.
But yeah, so
They're gonna
how
give me
does
a hard
that
time.
so how does that work? So when you get up in the morning, or do you, like you said, you kind of do it like a doctor show. If there's surgeries are scheduled, so you may
Yes.
have, within like the week, or is it, do you get
Mm-mm.
notified the day before of each surgery? So you don't know where
Right.
you may be going the next day.
No.
Okay.
No, it changes all the time. So um I know now where I'm going tomorrow, but it's the day before. Now anytime between um now and 5 a.m. anything can change.
Mm.
So at 5 a.m., if my supervisor calls me and says, well, there's a call out, I have to switch it to your schedule, or that case canceled, I have to switch it over here, because normally you want to give the people on call the later cases during the day. So they have time to rest just in case they were called out the night before,
Right.
which happens a lot. It just happened to me last week. Um, But yeah, so you go. I know where I'm going tomorrow. I'll go tomorrow, depending on what's happening there. Hopefully, they keep me for a little bit, right? I'm like, please keep me here, because if I call my office and say I'm done, I'm closing out on my case, they say, okay, whether we have anything going on, um, you're going to get dispatched to another hospital. If not, then stand by. And
Wow.
then I'm just riding around waiting for my shift to end, which is normally like a 7 to 3, 7 to 2:30, excuse me. But if anything pops off, then it's like, I need you to go cover this, but then your shift. Then you have to hope if there's someone available to relieve you, because we do get stuck on, cases for hours. That we
Really?
do spine cases down in Manhattan. There's a spine hospital. When you're there for at least 10 hours, the least 10 hours. And there may be multiple cases going on at the same time. So you could be going in one room, out the other room, in this room, that room. They need you over here. Can you call? We need you here. And
Jeez.
it just could be a crazy day. It's a crazy day. Deal with a lot of personalities with the doctors. Most doctors, a lot of doctors aren't pleasant, and you have to stand your ground. You have to stand your ground. You always have to, especially in a male-dominated field.
See, let's stop right there. So that would be a
Yes.
question of mine. So you say the doctors are not friendly. Like, why would they
What
not
you
be?
see in the office and what we see in the operating room is completely different.
Well, is it because they're not friendly because they're in the heat of the moment? Like, hey, we got to get this life saved. Hey, we got to get this done. Or they're just cocky. Which one is it?
Both. Both.
Really?
Both. There's some doctors that are just horrible, personality-wise. They're just horrible. They're not nice people
Mm.
at
Mm.
all. At all. They're just not nice people. There are some doctors who are anxious, or you could tell when pressure's on, because everyone handles pressure differently. Even these doctors, when the pressure's on, they feel it. There's some specialty doctors, like there's a doctor who I know, he can do, they're called aneurysms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Minimally invasive aneurysms, right? When they just take the the stent and open up an airway, not an airway, but open up a repair rupture in your aorta, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're repairing this rupture in your aorta. And you can do this so many, couple different ways, but one is minimally invasive. A lot of surgeries now are minimally invasive, so there's less bleeding, there's less recovery time, which is good for the patient, right?
Right.
However, because even though it's minimally invasive, we would be there because there's always a possibility that you would open, right? So I'll be there, minimally invasive, I'll set up, but if something goes wrong, then that doctor's going to take the knife and cut the patient open, and then it's ridiculous from there. So there's these doctors who are trained now to do these minimally invasive cases that if they have to open the patient now, they don't understand. They've never had to deal with that type of pressure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or that amount of blood loss, because just the blood loss alone, because mind you, the suction tubing that they're using, I'm collecting the blood. But if they don't get that, the way the blood rushes out of the arteries, it can disrupt their vision. They can't see what they're doing because it's filled with blood. Your cavity is filled with blood.
Right.
So that's a little stressful. You have to be calm and be skilled. And in that time, they can lose it. If they lose it, everyone around them lose it. It's just we have to really work and vibe off of each other while we're in there and focus on our job.
Right.
Focus on our job. I work directly with anesthesia.
Okay.
So they look at me and say, how much blood has the patient lost? And I have to calculate how much blood the patient lost and report back to them, because sometimes they lose more blood than what they're getting at the time, and then they're going to have to get a blood transfusion along with the blood that they're getting. So even though we're there, in addition, yes.
Wow.
In addition, it gets really ugly. It gets, stressful. Sometimes, a lot of times we lose patients. It happens.
Well, wait a minute.
Patients.
You said a lot of times. Now, wait a minute.
Not a lot of times. I'm looking in the span of 15 years. Like there are times we lose patients. Not a lot of times.
Okay.
For the most part, everyone does their part. Also, I'm not there in the recovery section time of the patient. And you have a lot of different factors with patients and how they do well in the surgery. There's anesthesia. There's your physical, your personal health,
right.
Where you are, and that there's the issue at hand, that we're dealing with. There's so many different factors to a person coming through, making it through surgery.
Wow. Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many jobs that we don't know of. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
right.
These are the reasons why I'm glad people are coming and saying, oh, I do this. And you're like, what the hell is that? Because in our community, right, I'm pretty sure your daughter's friends or your son's friends and their age bracket are not saying, hey, I'm going to go be a PAT specialist.
Because if they know me, they say no.
Well, not if they know you. We're just saying that the real fact is that they commonly, nobody knows. They want to be a nurse, they want to be a doctor. Not knowing there's so many different entities in the medical field.
Many. Yes, there's so many. This is ridiculous, the amount of employment and
in the health field.
Path in the health field.
But let me ask you, so there's no general course. So if you hadn't taken your nursing course, you wouldn't have gained the knowledge to be able to do that. So in order for a person to get into the hospital to explore those fields, they would have to go into a medical field of study.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Amazing.
Well, I'm going to just say we appreciate you. I appreciate you. I want you in the room if I ever got to get something, because I want you to make sure I'm good. I need all the blood I could get.
Yes.
And, make sure it's clean and purified. And is that something, like if we weren't having surgery, right? And dialysis is just the recycling of the blood for whatever their reason is. Should people clean their blood? Like, is there a way, people take different medications to purify the blood and things of that nature. Are you taught that the blood constantly should be cleaned, or is that just something only that's there for the purposes of surgery.
No, 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 no. Blood is almost like a filtrating organ in a sense. It's just the same as your kidneys and your liver. You definitely want to clean it. Even in holistic practices, you should definitely clean your blood, because everything goes to the bloodstream.
Mm-hmm.
Your medication is in the bloodstream. Anything you ingest goes through your bloodstream. Drinking alcohol goes directly to your bloodstream. Doesn't even pass. I say it doesn't pass go. It just goes directly. It's really crazy how I remember these things because we digest our food,
right,
and we digest our food, and it goes through the digestive process. Excuse me, and that's it. You say you're going to get a colon cleanse and clean out your bowels or whatever the case may be, but no one really talks about cleansing your blood.
Well, that's what I'm saying to you. So what would a person do? I'm thinking if I do a colonic, right? The colonic is the colon. That's just what it really.
That's it.
That's it. So how does one, or what should one do to help purify their blood? Is there a pill that you take? How does that work?
Holistic ways that people can do this. You can do like burdock root. You can do like dandelion root. You can do even lemon water is good for you.
Well, I do that all the time, so that's good.
Chlorophyll is good. It builds your blood. It cleans it. Just different herbal remedies. However, I don't know what the doctor would say.
Right.
I can't give medical advice.
Right.
But holistically, yes, there are plenty of ways that you can purify and cleanse your blood. You should, because our blood is you don't want it to be too acidic, and you don't want it to be too alkaline either. Because that causes a lot of problems. That's a wave that people are on right now and have been on for a while, like alkaline your body.
Well, that's what I was just getting ready to say to you. Yeah. That is the current wave. Drink alkaline water. So there has to be a balance.
There has to be, because what people don't understand is if your body is too alkaline, then you get a UTI. And then you have to take something acidic to balance that out. Like they're always in everything we do, there has to be balance. Everything. And you can't go from one extreme to the other in anything that we do.
Well, so, that is great information.
There cannot be an extreme. Our body is not going to adjust very well. Because if you're too acidic, you have disease. But if you're too alkaline, there are diseases that are associated with being too alkaline as well.
Lord have mercy.
That people do not get into,
Right.
So they just say, oh no, you got alkaline. You got to be more alkaline. But then, here comes the UTIs. Here comes
the various other things that come with it. And you don't even realize, well, why am I getting this? Because, I'm doing everything they said. They said to drink alkaline water, to alkaline your body. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And you don't even know that this is a side effect. But everything is cause and effect.
Everything. Everybody's different. Just like when you take medication, they figure out, like some people on blood pressure medication, you have to figure out which one works for your body. Same thing with the holistic approach. You have to figure out what works for you, because food is medicine. These herbs are real. They were used previously before, emergent medicine wasn't around. So you have to see, what works for you. And also because we have the food that we eat today, because we're on medication, not everybody's in the same clean slate. Our body's always trying to reach homeostasis, or like the balance that I was saying. It's always trying to do that. So what happens is when someone has an ailment like high blood pressure or whatever, they take medication and they don't get to the root cause of what it is, what's causing the high blood pressure, which is the adrenal gland on your kidneys. There's something not right with those, right?
Right.
So what ends up happening is you mask it. Like when you have heartburn and you take, antacids, you mask it, but you're not really getting into the problem at how to fix it. So when you all of a sudden get off of this and say, I'm going to take this natural remedy, what happens is your body resets. And now it's like going back to the factory warranty, and you still don't have it fix the problem. So it's going to go out of whack because it's trying to figure out how to fix itself.
Wow. Man,
So
when
it's
I
not.
tell you this information is so great because we need to know this.
Yes, it's
These are
important.
things that's not being taught. A lot of people are on the internet, the social media, the
Uh-huh.
Instagram, and they're giving out narratives, but they're not telling
Yes,
the
right.
whole
They're not
story.
telling the whole story because they may not know the whole story. It's easier for me to say, you know what, I have red yeast rice. Here you go. You have high cholesterol. You know that works, but you don't know that person's history. You don't know if that red yeast rice has a contraindication to anything that they're taking. To anything that they're taking, you just don't know. You should sit down with a person and really talk to them for the holistic practitioners or natural health consultants to really sit down and go through and do some research about these herbs that we are so easily thrown at people. Oh, you could try this, you could do this, you could do that. Even with insomnia or any type of something that we think is small, really take the time to research the right herb that you should take, the contraindications. If you're on any type of blood pressure medication, if you like grapefruit, you can actually be overdosing if you eat a lot of grapefruit. I know some people just like love apples or they love grapes, so they eat something consistently because they like it.
Right.
Grapefruit actually keeps the amount of medication in your bloodstream for longer periods of time. So you're actually overdosing when you take your blood pressure medication. If you eat grapefruit
Wow.
constantly every day, so it's just you're poisoning yourself. And even though grapefruit has they're high in vitamin C, they're good for you. It still can be a deadly combination if you take it with pharmaceutical products or whatever. So it is important to research your food that you're eating, research the medicine that you're taking, always let your doctor know if you're taking any type of herbs and medication, especially when you're going to surgery, because it can increase the bleeding, your bleeding risk
Right.
factor. You should ask questions when you're going. Ask. This is the most important. And it's just not even so much. You have to find the right questions to ask. So take time to sit down with your doctor and ask, and always your surgeon, and always consult your primary care physician as well, because they should know you. And I know with my primary care physician, if I don't feel comfortable with something, I'll say, no, I don't want to take that. Is there something else? Is there a holistic or a natural remedy that we can try prior to me doing this or whatever? Take control over your health care. Do not expect anyone to do that for you. You can go say, you know what, I have this pain, I'm going to go to a specialist, and they'll say, we could do surgery if they just want money. But if you're, having issues physically, your primary care doctor should say, no, you shouldn't go at this time. And a lot of people don't listen. I've known of some patients who've actually passed away because during surgery, because their primary physician said, I don't think you do. And they say, no, I want this, I want this. People are addicted to surgery.
Right. They think that's a quick fix and the answer, the end all to be all. And well, if I get
Right,
surgery, it'll be okay.
right.
So I'm glad that
But
you pointed that out.
Yep. And anything can be manipulated while you're in surgery. It's just when you come out and everything, like I said, goes back to homeostasis. What can your body handle? Because the medications that you're on, they can manipulate anything while you're under. Blood pressure goes through the roof. Bring that down. Like, oh, can you bring that down? It's too much. You know,
Right.
you're not they're manipulating your breathing. Everything can be manipulated to seem like everything's fine. So now you go into the surgery, you have this surgery, your body's really not reacting very well. You don't know if it's going to react, how it's going to react until afterwards. And then the surgeon says, no, everything went well, because everything did go well in surgery.
Mm.
Until after, now
And
your
then they're in
body is
recovery, and then that's
asking.
when you find out
Mm-hmm.
that this is the real deal that's going on.
That's where your body's starting to react to whatever the medication that they had given you, which could have been normal. It's just a different dosage. It's just, everything can go. Just listen to your primary care doctor. That's why it's so important to have a relationship with your primary doctor. It's not a dictatorship. They don't tell you what to do. It's not a dictatorship. You don't go to your doctor and say, and they say, you need to do this, you need that. You need to ask questions and develop a relationship
Right.
with your primary doctor. It's very important, especially for Black people.
Well, I am so lucky to have had you on the show today, giving that information. And like when you said, you know, the story, that they don't have our story. But you know
They
what's
don't.
even more how that segues? Because when we come back, we're going to talk about more of your story and what you
Yes.
do with these books. So,
Yes.
guys,
Yes.
stick around and we'll be back with this amazing, educated, smart, educated and smart is the same thing, but you know what I meant.
Yes. I know what you mean.
This woman is
Yeah.
going to not only tell us about what she does when she's not the daytime vampire. So
Right.
don't go anywhere. We'll be right back as soon as you can blink your eye.
This has been brought to you by Simply Carter Corp, your one-stop shop for all of your entertainment and party needs. Contact Simply Carter Corp for any special occasion. You can find them on Facebook at Simply Carter Corp, on Instagram at Simply Carter Corp. You can check out their website at www.simplycartercorp.com. Give them a call at 845-682-0022, or you can shoot them an email at hello@simplycartercorp.com. Simply Carter Corp, a brand for everyone.
Welcome back with this amazing daytime vampire, Miss Tanesha Williams.
Hello. Welcome.
But now, when Miss Williams is not in the third operating room, she's doing something else. Now, what she does in the operating room to me has already just taken me over the top, like how important of a role, how much of a key player she is. But what else she does outside is even more remarkable. So, Tanisha, tell the people what you do. Well, you take off your
I
scrubs.
When I take off my scrubs, sometimes my scrubs are on. I am the founder of Our Story Bookstore. It's an online bookstore that consists of solely Black authors. So I'm trying to bring culture, I'm trying to bring understanding, I'm trying to bring a different perspective than what the media depicts Black people as. We are educated people, we are creative people, we are amazing people, and we're loving. That's big too. We're loving people. So I want to bring a more positive view on our people. I want to tell our story. That's what I do.
So do you deal directly with authors, or how does that work in terms of?
I do.
Okay.
I do and I don't. Depends, but I do for the most part. I built a rapport. I built a nice little relationship with some of the authors that I absolutely love. Now, how I started in this, I'm a reader. I love reading. I love reading. It takes me to different places. With my life being the way that it is, with my profession, I like to get away. And sometimes we can't get away because it's not time for vacation, right?
Right.
So I learned to dive into a book and go away and get away. So what was happening was, as I was learning, I started learning more about my spirituality. I started learning about who I am and realized that, wait a second, I was in the library one day and I said, I got sad. I said, because my name is Tanesha. My name is Tanesha. My mother got my name from a movie, credits, right?
Okay.
I don't know. It's like the meeting is like born on a Tuesday or something like that. It makes no sense. I don't know what she was thinking. I'm like, Mom, she's like, I just like her name. I'm like, what in the world? My middle name is Chantel, which is French, which means to sing. I cannot sing a lick, right? I cannot sing at all. But my last name is Williams, right? So as I'm sitting in the library and I'm thinking about all this, my last name is Williams. I don't even know my family's last name because this was the name of slave owners.
Right.
From time, years and years and years and years. I can't even trace back my heritage. I don't know who I am. So since I don't know that, just being here in America, just being here, this is where I am, this is where I'm from. And the story that American history doesn't have the best story when it comes down to Black people, right? We have slavery, a whole 400 years of, slavery. And when we're in school, they teach slavery. They teach, Martin Luther King and the segregation, how it's not right for this to happen. No, it's not right. But like subconsciously, I kind of feel that children understand without saying Black people are inferior.
Right.
Just from the story, and I'm like, this has to change. This has to change, right? So one day I go to Barnes & Noble. Shout out Barnes & Noble. Everybody loves them. Because this is not about Barnes & Noble. But I have a friend who had a daughter who was having issues with her hair, just like my daughter had issues with her hair texture, and every other little Black girl with issues with her hair texture. So I said, okay, I'm gonna get a book so she can relate, or we can relate, because there's some things that mothers can say or can't. They can't. You can say all you want, you're beautiful, you're this, but they just don't see it.
Right.
Now, let me read a book, and maybe you can get some type of revelation through a book that I read to you. Right? I could not find one book. I could not find one book that talks about how beautiful a Black girl's hair is, a Black girl's hair. Know how to do it. No, nothing. There was nothing, and I felt so bad. I felt bad. What help do we get? What help can I say to this mother? Here, listen, I got this book. It's great. There is really no help. There was nothing. There was nothing. Nothing for me to show my daughter that she's absolutely gorgeous. We were in Florida one time. My daughter had a little breakdown. She had a meltdown. Didn't want to go outside. Was stuck in the house. I hate my hair. I hate it. I said, girl, how people are paying for your hair. What is wrong with you?
Right.
Right. But me saying that, I'm still the old mother,
Right.
And she still doesn't understand. So they didn't have it. I said, you know what? I think I just want to start this, our story. It was just so random, but it was something that I said, I want to try it. Let's see what goes, how it happens, stuff. And then it just started to grow. I started to get more ideas. People started to really appreciate it. I said I wanted to do this, and I have a business manager. She's amazing. Hey, Sarah. So,
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah. And she just caught the vision, and just pushed me to open. Like, you're going to do this now. I write blogs. On it. I don't do blogs every single month because it's just too taxing for me. Because the quality I want to put out something that people are going to think about and really be able to relate to. I can't just speak random words and make it come together. I have to take experience, or something has to build up in me to say, what, I would like to write about that. This is interesting. I want to talk about that. This is a part of our story. I just want to be able to show that we, without understanding, it's hard to respect people or things around you. And then if you don't respect it, you don't have gratitude. You don't appreciate it, right?
Right.
So I want to be able to create that missing link, so people can understand, so they will respect and appreciate who we are as a people.
And you are doing that, just that, in your operation. So now, is your store a physical store, or is it online?
It's an online store for now. I do plan on opening up a physical store. I actually opened during the pandemic. So watching this whole real estate thing go up and down has been crazy.
Right.
It's been very crazy for me. But at first it was like, okay, we can transition and we can do this virtually. Everything is virtual. So I do have author interviews, and I don't like to call them interviews. I like to call them conversations.
That's beautiful.
I speak to different people from different professions, because you know what? If I say I want to go to a doctor, or I want a landscaper, right?
Right.
A landscaper. We automatically think of or go to the biggest businesses, or the white-owned businesses. Where I think the same way we think of the white-owned businesses, a white-owned business, we could think of a black-owned business. It should be that easy. It should be the same. There's so many of us out here. Why is it that people don't think of black-owned businesses as the standard as well? right? It's just a standard.
Absolutely.
It's just what it is.
Right.
You know, if I want to go to a psychiatrist, it's hard for me to go to a psychiatrist, a psychologist. I have to actually search for black psychologists, black psychiatrists. I have to search for a black whatever electrician. I got to search for this stuff. You know, I would like this to become the norm.
Mm-hmm.
And be okay. People just be okay with it. It's the norm. It's the norm, right? So when I speak to these professionals, I ask them different questions. We talk about different things. Like, how did you what was you feeling like when you got into this profession? Like, you know, the same type of conversation, and I try to get a little deeper because there's a child out there that might be interested. There's somebody might be. It doesn't have to be a child because, you know, we go through several different careers during our lifetime. It could be anything, anyone, as long as they're being touched and we're getting the information out there about that particular profession. I speak to, I had a topic of black exploration in the mid-60s and 70s. I had a topic on our hair, how to take care of our hair with the texture and all of that. I had topics with a woman who is a nurse, how to become a nurse, the steps she would take, right, to become a nurse. We spoke about new authors. You know, we spoke on, you know, the new books that they've written. I've spoken to my favorite. You'll see it in February. Comes up Black Love Day, Akuma Day. I bring that out. I'm really big on that. February is my month. It's not only it's my anniversary, our story anniversary, but it's Black Love Day. A lot of people never heard of Black Love Day. Founded by Mama Ayo, we call her. She's down in D.C. There is Akuma Day that follows right after Black Love Day, you know, that I speak about all the time, every year. That will hopefully have a whole session on it this year. I don't want to give too much away.
Right.
But,
don't give it all away because we want to definitely be a part of it and want to be surprised. So that's in February.
That's in February, yes. There's so many things that, and so many people that I talk to. I have a book club, excuse me. The book club is called Lifelines Book Club. If you subscribe to it, then it's quarterly. So I don't want to bombard anybody with reading a book monthly. I think that is not realistic.
Right.
So quarterly, you'll receive a book, a box, and a beverage. Right. The beverage is a tea that I have. I have another business called TJ Healing Lab, and healing begins in the kitchen. So I have teas that come along with whichever tea that I pick. That's gonna go with the mood of the book.
Okay.
Books. I usually, in the past, I would like to get back to what I would do every Sunday. I would cook something from the cookbook, right? These women have what is it called? A soundtrack to go with the meal. You know, they have a song that you play while you're cooking. It's a whole vibe. I just want to incorporate learning and loving and having fun in this bookstore.
That is amazing. Yes, that's a whole different vibe, but that is a different vibe. Like, you don't get that. You don't get that.
I have record players in the bookstore, vinyl in the bookstore. Just something that's going to give you an appreciation for the culture. There's this cookbook by Alexander Small's Harlem, it's called. I'm trying to think of the top of my head. He has different songs and a whole history of the food in Harlem. And it's like, we all go to Harlem to eat, you know?
Right.
An amazing chef, you know? And eventually I'm going to go and eat his food.
Is he working? Does he have a restaurant in Harlem?
Yes, he does.
Okay, so we definitely have to.
He's big time now. He's big time. He's big. I think we're gonna have to be on a waiting list or something. We're gonna try.
Really? We definitely gotta put that on the bucket list. Like, boo, we gotta try this. What's going on?
He's amazing. He's amazing. Guy. There is also, I spoke to the Lewis Henry Mitchell, who's the creative director of Sesame Street. Okay. Yes, I spoke to him. And he's a real fun person also. I've spoken to Karen Parson I'm just like rambling right now.
It's okay. Tell us.
From what is the show? Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I've spoken with her. Like, there's a lot going on in the book world that people don't understand and know about.
Yeah,
there's so much going on.
But it's not just the book world; it's the culture. Because
it's the culture,
right? It's the culture in the books that you're reading. Because every if you go in your favorite store, right, Barnes and Nobles, is sections, right? So if you go down this aisle and you're reading business, and you're going down here and you're doing health, it's not the same vibe as you're getting our story. Yeah, and it's just totally amazing that you took the time and energy to think about something that would be an asset to the community. And in my mind, as you're talking, I can see it almost like a speakeasy bookshop. You know what I mean? And if you had a big enough place, like a little kitchenette in the back for those so that people can do the actual book, like you could set it up where they did the actual, cook the recipes that would vibe with the music. So even though everyone doesn't necessarily want to do the cooking, but they can all still be in the area, in the same in the store. So that
healing begins in the kitchen.
I love it. And that's probably why I'm never going to heal, because I'm never in the kitchen.
I have to make time. Like you said, it's the smell of the food. It's everything about cooking. It's not just the cooking. It's the environment. It's the ambiance. It's the vibe. It's the culture. It's like you go to grandma's house and she's always feeding you.
But let me tell you.
What you want?
I don't know, because I'm a grandma, and I'm a grandma that's never in the house, and I'm definitely never in the kitchen. But I will tell you that when I do cook, right, for me, it's like a chore. So when I cook for my boyfriend, I said, babe, I cooked, because to me, that's an accomplishment. I cooked today. And he's no, but he's like, did you cook, or did you cook it with love? Because, I'll throw some stuff together just to say I cook, to keep him quiet. But he'll come back and say, did you cook this, or did you cook it with love? Because it doesn't taste like you cooked it with love. And I was like...
And that's a nice way. That's a nice way of saying it. It's a beautiful way of saying it.
So now I have to be very cognizant of, like, when I'm cooking, I'm making sure I'm not rushing. I'm like, he can't tell about how I threw this together, but believe it or not, you can. So we have to get back to that. We really need to get back to the big family dinners. And, now it's just like everybody does their own thing. Like, your family might consist of 4 people, or it may consist of 3. But if the whole dynamic of the family is like 3, 4, 7, put them all together and have everybody just go to, and I think that would be really great to keep the history going, telling stories. It doesn't have to just be Thanksgiving, or a holiday time. I think if we spend more time together, in this day and age, it's very hard to do that with so many electronic devices, so many social media platforms, that you can spend a whole day engrossed on your phone. I mean, your phone will tell you what your screen time is. You know what I mean? And you're like, you've been on the phone for 17 hours, like, this week. Like, what are you doing? And
is your brain fried yet?
Absolutely. Yeah, and between your brain and your eyes, because now your eyes are like, so if I'm on this phone for such a long time, my eyes start to burn.
Your eyes. It's the blue light. And that's what someone else actually spoke to me about. Like, oh, no, everything is online now. You can do digital, read books digital. Don't worry about it. They'll come back, because the way the blue light is and the screen time and stuff, and affects your eyes, you're going to need to hold a book eventually.
And depending on how you hold the phone, it can affect your neck too, because if you're holding it farther down, you're always looking down. It'll always,
Which keeps me in business. Either way.
There you go.
Either
Right.
way.
Right. Because the neck is
Yeah,
starting to hang. You can't hold it up. It's a
yes.
lot of pain.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, oh my
Yes,
God.
and eventually you're going to need surgery, and here I am. See, I'm helping you. I could have saved you if you got a book. I could have saved you if you got, like I'm all around. It affects your neck. It affects your tendon, your decurvain tendonitis. People get from scrolling and scrolling and scrolling on their wrist. It's your posture. Everything is out of whack. But here we go back to the balance. We have to find balance in our lives. Just like you were talking about cooking and feeding. Maybe that might not be a thing for everybody. However, you're still feeding something or someone something through your actions, through your love, through
right.
your kindness. It's still a blessing to have people around. I'm a firm believer in sitting at the dinner table because our children need to have a gateway or some way to feel comfortable and start talking about their issues, what is going on. Husbands and wives, boyfriend and girlfriend, they need to start building relationships. Everything is not, you can't do everything through a phone.
You're right. And what you just said about the dinner table, like, when my boyfriend and I first started to cohabitate, I never ate at the dinner table. As a child, I didn't eat at the dinner table at my house, really, because as I got older, my mother used to work like a 1 to 9, 3 to 11. She was never home to have dinner at the dinner table, right? So I would have my food and I would go sit in the living room or I'll go in my room. When I had children, when they were younger, they would sit at the table and I would still be in the kitchen cleaning up, and because I didn't take the time to sit with them, right? Because I was on a schedule all the time. I got to finish cleaning the kitchen, so when they finish eating, I'm going to wash those dishes and I'm going to do blah, 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 right? But hearing you say it and having the vision in my mind is that we have to pause, because we're all on speed. Everything is instantaneous. Everything is a go now. Where's the pause? Okay, it's dinner time, guys. It's dinner time. Let's put the phones away. Let's in my kitchen we have a TV. If we want to watch TV, we could watch something at the while we're having dinner at the dinner table, as opposed to being in the living room with the
right.
And I think those wholesome ideas of getting, even if it's just if you start out once a month, like, okay, I'm gonna come to your house with my family this month, and you go to this one's family, just to get back into that, because I think as a culture of people, that's what we do. We come together and we socialize, and like you said, we're happy. We're as they say, you shucking and jiving, because we dancing, we singing, we're having fun, and we love music. So culturally, you put some good food with that, you're in heaven. You're just in heaven. You didn't have to have a lot of money. You didn't have to have on designer clothes to do that. And you were just with your people and loving on them. And it was amazing. So I appreciate you trying to bring that back into the fold of our community. And, I see that being something that can definitely expand, because imagine a bookstore / speakeasy kitchen. Like, just so many things can come out of there. People can lounge. They come and be comfortable in their environment. It'll just be a phenomenal attraction. Someplace when people are going to visit the Hudson Valley, or if they're going to visit down south, then hey, we gotta go to our story. That's an event.
It's our story. Yep, it's an event. It's an experience.
Yes.
It's our story. That's what we're doing. We're spreading love. We are, the foundation is respect, gratitude, and greatness. We are great people, and we have to just remind the world who we are, because you know what? We built it.
Now, where can the people find your information on social media? How can they get in contact with you? How can they get some books? Let the people know.
Okay, so on Facebook, I'm Our Story Bookstore. On Facebook, Our Story 365 on Instagram. The website is www.ourstorybookstore.com. If you have any questions, you can message us on Instagram or Facebook. We'll return within a few hours. It doesn't take long for anyone to get back to you, but just allow us some time. So I would say up to 24 hours.
Right.
If you have any questions about any books, a lot of people say they don't read. I beg to differ. I feel like you don't read. You haven't found anything that you're interested in reading. So everybody reads. They just don't have anything, or they feel it's boring because you're not interested. So if you need help trying to figure out your niche or what you like, we're here to help you with that. We'll go over and start, especially me, I love to try to figure out what people are interested in and give them something usually like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's nice. I like this book or whatever. And it gives me pleasure to hear that. So if you do not know where to start, please do not hesitate to ask. And look up the blogs. The blogs are on there. You can just read some, comment, let me know what you think, share, like, comment.
Listen, and just so you know, this young lady is also my Brown Girls Do Network sister.
Yes.
And, yes. And you definitely have been giving some good advice in the chat. I see that you had posted a book to read, and I'm so excited to be a part of that. And I'm grateful that we have someone in our network that can start to share our story. So hopefully with the women that we're working with currently, the story will start to be shown further and further, wider and wider. Thank you so much, T, for being on the show. Is there anything you want to, any last words that you want to say to anyone?
Tonight, no.
You want to go to bed. You want to go to bed in case you have to be on call. I get it. But again, thank you so much for being on the show.
No
problem. We look forward to supporting you. And
thank you.
Have a great night. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and I look forward to bringing you many more, all with positive vibes. Remember, whatever you do, do it from the heart, with love and passion. Stay safe. Talk